Welcome. It doesn't look like I'm looking at it. I hate looking directly at the camera. It feels so. I don't want to look at you. Ugh. Anyway, welcome to the private music experience on Lux Reprised. My initial plan was, of course, to just simply listen to the album normally and react to it normally. However, I am in a bit of a situation where I have to walk home from work today. It's a 5-mile walk, takes me about 90 minutes if I don't stop for breaks and just go at a modest pace, so it's plenty of time to listen to an album. And so I'm gonna do that. Now, I'm not gonna call this a reaction because I'm not really going to be able to film myself reacting to the music as it's going on. I mean, I might be able to do that at times, but number one, it's going to be with my shitty mic on my wired headphones. These are like $30 earbuds, not very good, so it's going to sound like shit. And the other thing is that, of course, I'm not going to like walk around for 90 minutes with my freaking arm up, holding my phone up like that. It's stupid. It's dumb. But I still think this would be a nice, interesting way to experience an album titled Private Music. You know, just taking it for a nice morning walk. It's about 5:30 a.m. I'm looking forward to this. So I guess the format that I will be doing for this video is that I'm just going to listen to the songs. If there's something really interesting that I want to, I guess, farm a reaction for, then I guess I could just make that happen. But otherwise, I'm just going to stop after each song and give my thoughts on it as I get through the album. And I don't know, maybe some other things. Maybe I'll like record some B-roll footage and set that to the video. Like, ooh, isn't this interesting? Yeah. All right, play the music. Wow, you can't see me at all, can you? You know, of course I listened to Mind is a Mountain, My Mind is a Mountain, before the album came out. It's the lead single. And what I love about Deftones is that every single album, they start with a great track that really kind of summarizes the sound of the album. I think, of course, not having listened to the album yet. I assume, though, that's just what they always do. Genesis, Prayers Triangle, freaking Swerve City, Diamond Eyes, of course, My Own Fucking Summer, you know, just always really, really strong openers. And what stands out to me about this song is that it's of course very Deftones-like, but in a particular way that I think they're honing in on a lot more. There's a comment that I think I just saw somewhere on the internet that describes Deftones like a fine wine. They're like metal's own fine wine, and that's like something that I've really thought about with this whole rollout, because even this ties into the visuals as well, like how the logo for the album is the snake tongue, but I think it's deliberately made to look like the Mercedes logo. I don't think it's a coincidence that it looks so similar, because Mercedes is this very classy, very luxurious brand, and I think that's kind of the approach that Deftones wanted, or the sound that Deftones wanted to really focus on with this album. My Mind is a Mountain sounds classy. It's heavy. It's heavy like Deftones, in the way Deftones are, but it's also very atmospheric. It's very pretty. It's very beautiful. Very melodic. So it's, you know, heavy metal, but like I said, it's very classy sounding, kind of luxurious sounding, like it's fancy. Like I'm gonna mosh to this in my Sunday best. So it's a really, really cool opener, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of this album. So got through Locked Club, the second song, and I'm already getting the sense that one of the musical stylings of this album is that they're doing these very slow rhythms, these very slow, like open triplet rhythms, or however you want to describe them. I don't know terms all that well, but My Mind is a Mountain was also like this, where it had these slow rhythm, doon 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 doon, and I just thought that's just how they made that song. But Locked Club
also had riffs and rhythms like this. So that's very interesting. It gives the whole band this very wide, very spacious sound. And on top of that, you've got a bit of reverb on Shino's vocals, which makes me think, I was already thinking this with Mindless Mountain the first time I heard it, but this album is making me think that they're just kind of trying to do what they were maybe trying to do on Gore, because Gore was also an album that had this very spacious sound. I think that's what they were going for anyway. But I think they went a little too far, where the mix was really off. Some things sounded way too distant, you know, like really far off when, you know, I wanted to hear them a little better. So this is giving me vibes like that, but a lot better, because it's actually heavy. It's actually clear. It actually makes sense now. So that's very interesting. Very cool. So, Ecdysis, which I know means shedding, because they said that on the album. Favorite song so far. Really loved the dark bass tones. Loved the guitar work. Ding, 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 ding. And it's, you know, usual Deftones where it's kind of dark, kind of heavy, but Shino's just doing his thing and he just makes it work. I don't know how he's able to fit himself in so well. Not too much to say, but just a nice, necessary tone change for the album. I have been listening, kind of thinking like, all right, when's the band gonna just like really let loose? Like, I want just like a really big song, something like The Spell of Mathematics off of Ohms, which is an album that I love a lot, by the way. I love Ohms. It's probably my favorite Deftones album. I'm just throwing that out there because I need to insert it into the conversation at some point. Ohms is fantastic, and nobody else agrees with me on that. Justice for Ohms. Actually, that song kind of reminded me of Ohms, but it also reminded me of like their earlier stuff, which I guess is why it reminds me of Ohms. It's like, here's 90s Deftones again, but in the 2020s. And it sounds awesome. I love it. Deftones is cool. Infinite Source was interesting. That was a different song. The melodies, the riff writing, it felt very bright and clean, but it wasn't entirely. Like, they left enough distortion in there. They still left enough like roughness in the song so that it still felt heavy. It still felt, you know, typical Deftones in that way. But even then, Chino's vocals had a lot of very, I'm going to say, sentimental sounding melodies. Or something like that. You know, it just felt very nice. Like not necessarily nice and like, oh man, this is my favorite song. Although I do like it. It's a good song. But just like, it just felt nice. Like I said, it just had a sentimental, kind of clean vibe to it. So it was a bit different. It was interesting. I did like the end breakdown too. You know, it wasn't like the song wasn't trying to be too heavy, but it still has some riffs. It still has some meat. It still has some muscle on it, and I appreciate that. Very, very interesting. I wonder if there are going to be more songs like it on this album. Check out this little house here. Isn't that cool? What is happening? What is this? Is this the summoning? Have Deftones gone sleep token? Not on my watch. So, Souvenir and CXC? That means something to somebody. Pretty good. I will say pretty good, but you know, for me this album hasn't yet taken itself above that level of just being pretty good. Like, I will say, this is a good Deftones album. This is certainly a serviceable album. But right now I'm feeling it's like maybe middle of the pack, maybe even bottom half in their discography. Although that kind of speaks to just how good their discography is in general. I do still really like the stylings of this album with these very slow, open rhythms and how Chino is singing on top of them. They are great, but I guess I'm just still waiting for that song that like really clicks, where it just feels like it's the best possible version of the band right now. It's the best possible version of this sound right now. I was really hoping that CXC would be that song where they just really let loose, because it kind of started off that way. It started off really energetic and hype, which I thought was perfect coming out of that ambient outro at the end of Souvenir. But then it had some slow parts to it as well, and it kind of broke up the energy, broke up the tension a little bit. And I'm like, man, I was kind of hoping they would go all the way on this one, if nothing else. I think I still like the song. I still like both of these songs, but yeah, I am still looking for a little bit more out of this album. Maybe there will be more. Maybe they're saving all the big bangers for the second half. I think about you all the time. I think that might be the first song that I'm actually disappointed by on this album. Not that I even think it's a bad song necessarily, but so it definitely gives Sex Tape vibes from Diamond Eyes. It definitely feels like it's that kind of song, very slow, but it does ramp up, kind of have a dramatic chorus. But the thing is, the chorus of that song like soars. It goes really high. Ta-na! I actually don't remember it off the top of my head. It's not one of my favorite Deftones songs. You know, but it just has that really nice cathartic release, for lack of a better word, I guess. And this song kind of didn't. I'm actually starting to worry a little bit. It just kind of feels like Chino's not at full power with this album. Like the entire song, I'm just like, all right, he's going to have like a huge belting note right here or something like that. And that's going to really make the song, that's going to make the song. That's going to be the climax. And it just like never really came. You know, like for as slow as the song started off, and it was a nice start. I really like that ding ding or whatever riff it was, the kind of slow two-step riff that I'm gonna call it. I liked that, but you know, the song didn't really evolve beyond that, and it ended, and I'm just like, oh, I guess that was it. I just feel like it could have been a little bit better, but it wasn't bad or anything. I hope whoever lives here doesn't mind that I'm using their rocks and weeds, or whatever these are, as a backdrop. Milk of the Madonna, I'm realizing, is kind of the song that I've been asking for with this album. It's kind of the song I've been waiting for. This song where, you know, it's like really hype. It's really energetic. It kind of feels like, not the band going all out necessarily. I mean, for what it's worth, it's not like Deftones have ever been super fast and aggressive or energetic or like that. But, you know, it's a banger. You know, this is a Deftones banger. I gotta say, though, that's where the camera is. This song needed a section. This song needs a bridge. It actually does disappoint me a little bit that the song goes into the second chorus and then it just kind of fades and it just comes back into another chorus. Like, it needs another section in there, and I'm kind of disappointed that it feels like a cop-out in a way. It's like, oh, we didn't know how to make another section of this song, so here's just like a little synth section or a little fade. And, you know, it does feel like it was a compromise as opposed to something that actually made the song better. It doesn't excite me, really. It's not just like, oh, here's this cool down part with nothing going on, and then, oh, another chorus that I've already, you know, because I haven't already heard this twice before. I mean, like, I love everything about the song. It just, except for that little bridge, and I wish there was more of the song, if that makes sense. That's basically my complaint. I like this song, and I wish I liked it more than I do. I wish there was more of the song to like. It's a good song, though. Oh! Okay. I got it. I got the song I've been looking for. I got the aggressive banger. I got the Chino screams. There was a huge breakdown at the end. Oh, I loved it. It was raw, but it still had those very, slow, wide open riffs. And man, it worked really well. Oh, the like weird new metal vocals and the riffs. Chino said "fuck you" multiple times. Oh, this is a good song. That's a good song right there. What was that called? Cut Hands. That's my favorite song on the album so far. Okay, yeah, the second half is looking a lot better than the first half. Metal Dream is another song that I kind of want to say is disappointing. In that I thought it was going to be a lot weirder than it actually was, given the way it started. It started off weird, and I'm just like, okay, this is the one song with a squiggly in the title, so this is definitely going to be an unusual one. But it actually normalized pretty decently. It was interesting at the end, the "forever together," vocals, and then the way the outro slowed down. That was pretty cool, and I'm sure it transitions into the last song pretty nicely. But it was a little bit, I guess, underwhelming. Like there was a part I reacted to where I thought I was really gearing up for something really big and interesting, and it just kind of, again, it's kind of like the same thing as Milk of the Madonna, where it's like, oh, I thought this was going somewhere, but I guess not. It is still unusual enough, though, so this might be a grower. I'm willing to bet on that. This might be a song I just have to sit on a little bit more.
We hang in space. It's clear. Cold.
What? He can do that? Since when can he do that? Got me right in the crotch. I had no idea that Paul St. Peter was in Deftones, or that Chino could sound like Xemnas. That's cool. New Chino voice unlocked. That was a nice outro. It was nice. It was lengthy. It's maybe another song that didn't quite go in all the directions that I wanted to. Maybe I just have skewed expectations. Maybe it's me. Maybe the problem is me. Maybe I'm the one who's just like, I wish that sounded like this, and everyone else is like, it sounds perfect. Idiot. Nerd. Sorry that Deftones didn't make the exact album that you wanted. That's cool. It's a good album. I will still kind of, I will say, even though the second half had some better songs, I'm still leaning towards middle of the pack, in terms of album rankings. This album didn't quite win me over. Then again, I've listened to it one time on my phone with kind of crappy earbuds, although granted I listen to a lot of stuff like this, but also while walking and trying to be mildly entertaining. So this wasn't, the most thorough experience I've had with this album. I'm obviously going to listen to it a lot more times, many more times. I am happy with it, and I think maybe it would be better to say that this album doesn't have any low points. I don't think. Sure, there were some songs where I'm just like, I don't know about this one. I wish this one could be better. There were no bad songs. There was not a single song where I'm just like, what the hell were they doing? What was this one? And not every Deftones album, I think I can say that for. There was not any stretch. There was no run of the album where I'm just like, oh, it's been a while since I've heard a good song on here. I'm getting kind of bored of this. I thought it was nice. It was engaging. The style of it was pretty consistent the entire way through, but it was still diverse. It was another album that feels like it called back to a lot of Deftones, previous Deftones eras, or at the very least, maybe that's just how they just are. It felt like its own album. It felt like it had its own style, but it did still have some of just basically a little bit of everything from every Deftones album. Obviously, the most obvious comparisons would be Diamond Eyes and Koi no Yokan. It did at times sound a lot like those albums in particular, and I guess maybe that's why I like Cut Hands so much, because it's basically structured just like Diamond Eyes, the song. which is my favorite Deftones song. So yeah, I was really happy to have that breakdown at the end. That's exactly what the song needed. Thank you, Deftones. Thank you, Nick Retz, whatever your fucking name is. Yeah, good album. Probably like 7 or 8 out of 10. So it's solid. It's really good. Just, you know, maybe not in my personal top tier of Deftones album. But like I said, there were not really any dull moments on this album. And that's good. We like high floor releases like that. So yeah, this was a nice experience. This was a nice way to occupy myself on this walk. I'm almost home already, and it's like, it's weird. I did play a couple of these songs multiple times just to like get a little bit more out of them, get more of a feel for them. But at the same time, I would also imagine this being a pretty breezy album to get through, because a lot of the songs felt very, I guess efficient would be the right word. I think Fantano used that when he talked about My Mind is a Mountain. He just said it was a very efficient song. It just gets in and out in 3 short minutes. There were lots of songs like that where the structures were pretty simple. They didn't, you know, get too progressive or anything, and they were relatively short. That could be for better or for worse. I you know, there were times where I wished there was a little bit more progression. I already yapped about that, but still, it was a nice album. It was a nice 40 minutes or so, or 42 minutes, I think that album was. So yeah, pretty good. Happy with it. Very happy that Deftones. Very happy that one of my favorite bands put out an actually good album. I'm glad I'm not disappointed in anybody this time around. So I'm going to finish walking home, and then I guess I'll put this out on the internet. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe so that I can have a better phone that can record me better, or maybe better earbuds, things like that. That'd be nice. Maybe eventually, if I get more than 5 subscribers. Then again, if I had more subscribers, I also probably wouldn't do a video in a horrible format like this. So we choose our battles. Oh, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment and stuff. I'll respond or heart your comment or something like that. Let me know what you thought about the album. Let me know what you thought about anything. I don't know. Bye.